The message came without warning. A single repeating pulse, steady, distant, and faint, traveling through the dark ocean of space. At first, no one believed it was real. The signal was too weak, too broken, too far from any known colony. But the machines on the listening stations didn't lie. Something out there was calling for help. In the command center of the Odyssey, the largest human exploration ship ever built, Commander Elena Hayes leaned over the glowing console. Lines of data scrolled past her eyes as the signal repeated again, softer this time, like a heartbeat fading in the dark. "It's a distress call," said Lieutenant Rowe, his voice uneasy. "Old format, pre-expansion era, could be from one of our lost outposts." Elena frowned. "Or someone wants us to think that." For a moment, silence filled the bridge. Only the low hum of the ship's core and the quiet breathing of the crew could be heard. Space had been peaceful for decades. Humanity had grown confident, maybe too confident. The United Galactic Council had declared that no threat remained beyond their borders. But fear, like starlight, always finds a way to return. "Plot a course," Elena said finally. "We'll investigate." The Odyssey turned its silver wings toward the coordinates. Engines roared softly as it slipped through the void. Days passed. The stars around them thinned. The signal grew stronger. It was repeating a single phrase now, an old Earth distress code that no one used anymore. When the Odyssey dropped out of faster-than-light travel, the crew saw a graveyard of ships drifting near a pale blue nebula. Hundreds of hulls, some human, some alien, floated broken and silent. No lights, no power, just the cold reflection of dead metal. "What happened here?" whispered Rowe. Elena's eyes scanned the wreckage. Something big. And it wasn't a war we knew about. They sent drones to search the field. Cameras flickered as they passed through clouds of frozen debris. Human faces, twisted in terror, floated among shattered glass and steel. The drones recorded strange scorch marks on the hulls, deep and melted, like the metal had been eaten from inside. One drone caught something else, a flicker of movement inside a broken transport ship. Something was still alive. "Bring it aboard," Elena ordered. The recovery bay filled with light as the wrecked capsule was pulled in. The air inside the chamber was cold, almost freezing. The walls were coated with a black organic residue that looked like ash but moved slightly, like it was breathing. Rowe took a step back. "Commander, maybe we should—" "Open it," Elena interrupted. The hatch hissed open, releasing a wave of fog. Inside lay a human woman in a damaged suit, her helmet cracked, her skin pale as ice. She gasped as they lifted her out. Where am I?" she whispered. "You're safe," Elena said gently. "You sent the distress call?" The woman's eyes opened wide. "No, it wasn't me. It used our systems. She started shaking violently. The medical team rushed forward, but her voice cut through the noise. "It's still here." The lights flickered across the command deck. For a brief second, every screen on the Odyssey displayed the same symbol, a circle of black with veins spreading outward, pulsing like a heartbeat. The woman screamed. Then everything went dark. Power returned after a few seconds, but the woman was gone. Only her empty suit remained on the floor, the inside covered with that same moving black residue. Elena's crew stared in horror. No one spoke. The hum of the engine sounded louder now, like a nervous breath. "What did we just bring on board?" Rowe muttered. No one had an answer. Later that night, as the Odyssey drifted near the wreck field, a faint tapping echoed through the metal walls of the ship, steady, rhythmic, and distant. The sound repeated the same pattern as the distress signal, and somewhere deep in the cargo bay where the recovered capsule had been stored, something began to move. The crew of the Odyssey could not sleep that night. The corridors felt colder, as if something unseen was breathing through the metal. The hum of the engines no longer sounded steady. It pulsed, almost alive. Commander Elena Hayes walked alone through the quiet deck. Every few steps she heard the soft tapping again, the same pattern as the distress signal. It came from different places each time, moving through the ship like a whisper in the dark. She stopped at the observation window. The wreck field floated outside, lit by the pale light of the nebula. For a long moment, nothing moved. Then one of the derelict ships turned slowly, as if something had pushed it. Elena pressed the comm link. "Bridge, report any motion in the wreck field." Lieutenant Rowe's tired voice answered. "No movement detected, Commander. All systems show normal." She looked again. The ship outside was still drifting, but its lights had come on. Dim, blue lines glowing across its hull, forming the same circle symbol she had seen on the Odyssey's screens earlier. Her stomach tightened. "Rowe, wake the engineering team. I want full scans now." Moments later, the bridge filled with tense voices. The scans came back confusing. There was no power source inside that wreck, yet the glow continued to spread. Then the Odyssey's sensors caught something worse. A faint signal pulse matching their earlier distress call, now transmitting from inside their own ship. "How is that possible?" someone whispered. "It's copying us," Elena said quietly. "It's learning." Before anyone could respond, alarms blared. Section C of the lower deck had lost power. A team of engineers rushed down the corridor, flashlights cutting through the dark. The lights flickered as they opened the door. Inside, one of the walls was covered in the same black residue that had coated the recovered capsule. It moved slowly, like a living shadow spreading across the steel. "Burn it," one engineer said. They used plasma cutters to sear the wall, but the black matter only shrank back, hissing before sliding into the ventilation vents. The captain's voice echoed over comms. "Seal the vents and isolate that section." Hours passed. The crew tried to keep working, but unease grew with every minute. Some said they heard voices whispering through the intercom, their own names spoken softly by something that should not know them. Elena gathered her officers in the strategy room. "We can't stay here," she said. "Whatever this is, it's not just infection. It's intelligent." Rowe nodded. "Then it used the distress call to bring us here." The realization settled like a heavy weight in the room. The message wasn't a cry for help, it was bait. Suddenly, the holographic map in front of them glitched. The wreck field outside changed shape on the display. The scattered ships began to align, forming a vast circular pattern around the Odyssey. It looked almost like a net closing in. "They're moving," said Rowe, his voice shaking. Outside, the dead ships started drifting together, guided by invisible force. Their lights pulsed the same cold blue. The circle symbol appeared again and again across their hulls. "Helm, back us out," Elena ordered. The engines roared, but the Odyssey didn't move. Something was holding it. Energy levels dropped fast. Then, from the darkness beyond the wrecks, a massive shadow emerged, a shape too large to be any ship they had ever seen. The crew fell silent as it drifted closer. Its surface was alive with black veins of light twisting like liquid. The alien structure pulsed once, and the same distress signal echoed again through every channel, louder, clearer, almost like a heartbeat now. "Commander," Rowe whispered, "it's calling to something." Elena stared at the screen. "No, it's calling to us." Suddenly, every light on the Odyssey went out. For a few seconds, there was only darkness. Then faint blue symbols began to glow across the walls, forming patterns no one could understand. From the comm system came a voice, soft, broken but human. "Help. Us." The voice belonged to the woman they had rescued, the one who had vanished. Rowe looked at Elena. "She's gone. How is she speaking?" The voice came again, this time deeper, overlapping with others, dozens of whispers blending into one. "Help. Us. Join. Us." The black residue began dripping from the ceiling, forming thin strands that reached for the floor. The crew backed away, terrified. Elena drew her pulse pistol and fired. The shot tore through the material, but it didn't stop. It reformed, spreading wider. "Evacuate the lower decks," she shouted. "Seal everything else." The crew scrambled through the corridors. The black matter spread faster, crawling along walls and lights. In seconds, the bright ship began to look like it was bleeding darkness. As the emergency doors closed, Elena looked back one last time. The view through the window showed the alien structure now fully awake, its glowing veins extending toward the Odyssey. The signal repeated once more, louder, echoing through the ship like thunder. And this time it wasn't asking for help, it was calling them by name. The Odyssey shook as the alien structure pulled it closer. The crew ran through the flickering corridors, trying to seal every section they could. The lights turned a cold blue again, and whispers echoed through the vents. The ship that once felt safe now sounded alive, breathing, pulsing, whispering. Commander Elena Hayes stood on the bridge, gripping the control console. "Status report," she shouted. Lieutenant Rowe's voice came shaky. "Engines are losing power fast. The black matter is inside the reactor room. It's spreading too quickly to contain." "Then we vent the room," Elena said. Rowe stared at her. "That will kill the engineers still inside." Her jaw tightened. "If we don't, it'll kill us all." A heavy silence followed. Then she pressed the command. A red warning flashed, and a deep roar vibrated through the ship as the air from the reactor section was ejected into space. The screams over comms were brief. The noise faded and the lights on the control panel turned green again. Power levels stabilized. For now. Elena exhaled. "Report any sign of the thing." Rowe looked at the sensors. "It's still inside, Commander." Smaller readings now, but moving, like it's looking for something. No one spoke. They all heard it, faint knocking again, somewhere deep within the ship, like a heartbeat echoing through metal. Outside, the alien structure loomed larger. It wasn't just a ship. It was something far stranger. Parts of it were alive, shifting and curling like muscle. Inside its dark surface, shapes moved. Long, thin silhouettes pressing against the translucent walls. Elena turned to the crew. "We need answers. Scan for life signs inside that thing." Rowe nodded. The sensors flickered, then showed thousands of faint human biosignatures. Too many, scattered inside the alien vessel. "That's impossible," he said. "There are more than 30,000 human life signs in there." Elena felt a chill run through her. "That's not a ship," she whispered. "It's a grave." The distress signal played again, but now it came from every console, every speaker, and every voice sounded human, pleading, crying, whispering. Some called for help, some called her name. "Elena, join us." Rowe slammed the audio off. "It's trying to get into our heads." But then another sound rose. Footsteps. The door at the far end of the bridge opened. A woman stepped inside wearing a torn uniform. Her face was pale, her eyes empty but glowing faint blue. It was the same woman they had rescued, the one who had vanished. The crew froze. "Elena," the woman said softly. Her voice was layered, as if several people were speaking at once. "You brought us back." Elena raised her pistol. "Stay where you are." The woman smiled faintly. "We wanted to live. It gave us life again. It only asks for one thing: to share it." "Share what?" The woman tilted her head. "The dark. The unity. No pain, no fear, only one mind." She stepped forward, and as she did, her skin rippled. Small black veins spreading beneath the surface. The crew backed away. Elena fired. The blast threw the woman against the wall, but instead of blood, dark fluid oozed out, spreading across the floor. Rowe shouted, "Seal the bridge!" Doors closed, locking them in. The black liquid on the floor began to move, rising like smoke, taking shape again. Not as one body, but as many. Faces formed in the darkness, half human, half shadow, whispering in hundreds of voices. Elena looked around desperately. "Rowe, get us out of its range, full thrusters." "Trying, Commander, but it's draining our systems again." The black mist crawled toward them, reaching for the control panels. Elena grabbed a plasma torch from the wall and lit it. The blue flame hissed and the black mass recoiled slightly, screaming in dozens of tones at once. "Keep it back," she shouted. The crew used torches and heat tools, holding the spreading darkness away. For a moment, it worked, until the windows cracked. A loud boom echoed as something hit the Odyssey from outside. The alien structure had connected a tendril directly to their hull, fusing metal to metal. The view outside was now a swirl of black light. The distress signal boomed again, deep, almost like a roar now. Ro's voice trembled. It's not trying to destroy us, it's trying to merge. The tendril pierced through the hull. Black material poured in like liquid fire, spreading across the floor and walls. The ship's AI voice crackled. Containment breach. Multiple sectors compromised. Elena grabbed Ro by the arm. We have to cut it off. If it links with our reactor, it can spread to the entire fleet. How? He asked. By overloading the engine, we'll burn it off the hull. Ro stared at her. That could destroy the ship. She nodded. Then we destroy the infection. The bridge shook harder. Systems screamed. The voices grew louder, filling every speaker, every mind. Elena, don't fight it. We are one. The sound was almost human, almost kind. But beneath it was something ancient and cold. Elena set the override key into the console. The countdown began. 5 minutes to core overload. She looked at her crew. If we don't make it, humanity must know. This was no accident. Something in the dark called to us. Outside, the alien structure pulsed faster, glowing like a dying star, its tendrils wrapped tighter around the Odyssey. And deep in the darkness, something vast and awake finally turned its gaze toward them. The ship trembled as the overload countdown ticked lower. 5 minutes to self-destruction. The Odyssey's warning lights flashed red across every corridor, turning the air thick with tension and fear. Commander Elena Hayes stood firm on the bridge, her hand gripping the control lever that would unleash the final surge of power. Around her, the crew worked with quiet desperation. They all knew what this meant. No escape, no rescue. Lieutenant Ro's fingers flew across the control panels. Reactor power building up, Commander. Core temperature rising. Elena nodded. Keep it steady. The energy burst must hit maximum when I say. Outside, the alien structure pulsed brighter. Its surface moved like liquid metal, forming shapes that almost looked like faces. Faces of the lost ship's crews, human and alien alike, all twisted in agony. A low hum filled the bridge. The black matter that had invaded the ship began to shake like it sensed what was coming. Its whispers turned into a painful scream inside everyone's minds. "Stop this," the voices cried. "We only wanted to live." Elena ignored them, but she felt her hands tremble. Were they truly enemies or victims of something worse? Ro shouted, "The thing, it's moving, Commander, it's pulling back." On the main screen, the alien structure began to retreat slightly, like a living creature drawing away from fire. But its tendrils still held the Odyssey tight. Elena turned to her crew. "If this doesn't work, we'll ram it. Humanity must never let this thing reach our colonies." A sudden blast threw everyone off balance. A section of the bridge wall tore open, and freezing air rushed in. From the smoke, black tendrils reached inside, curling and clawing toward them. The crew fired plasma rifles, burning the edges, but the dark mass only screamed louder and grew stronger. Ro slipped on the floor but grabbed a side console, his arm shaking. "We're losing control, Commander," Elena shouted. "Hold the line, keep the fire on it." The dark material poured in faster now, crawling across the ceiling. It formed shapes, human shapes. Faces appeared again, whispering, pleading. "Elena, don't leave us. We can save you." For a moment she saw her brother's face in the blackness. He had died years ago, during the Jupiter Colony War. His voice was exactly the same. "Elena," he said softly, "you failed to save me once. Don't fail again." Her grip faltered. "You're not him," she said, voice breaking. The face smiled, then melted into darkness again. Ro fired his weapon at the ceiling, cutting the blackness away from her. "Commander, don't listen to it. It's using your memories." Elena blinked hard, pushing the voice out of her mind. "Keep fighting. We finish this." The countdown reached 1 minute. Ro yelled, "We can't survive this explosion. We need to eject the bridge section." "No," Elena said firmly. "If we do that, the overload won't spread through the ship. It has to reach the infection everywhere." He stared at her. "That's suicide." She gave a small, tired smile. "I know." The alien structure outside began to open. Its center split like a massive mouth, revealing a blinding blue light. The voices became screams now, angry and terrified. Ro looked at the sensors. "Commander, that light, it's feeding on the reactor energy. It's not afraid of the explosion. It's trying to absorb it." Elena's eyes widened. "Then we give it more than it can take." She ran to the emergency panel and ripped open the control lock. "Ro, redirect the backup cores to the main reactor, all of them." "Commander, that will destroy us instantly." "Do it," she shouted. He hesitated for only a second before obeying. Power surged through the ship. The lights flashed white and the whole Odyssey screamed as metal bent and systems overloaded. The black mass on the walls began to burn, turning red hot, melting into liquid ash. The alien structure outside started to convulse, its veins glowing brighter, then flickering. "Come on," Elena whispered, staring at the screen. "Burn." The countdown hit 10 seconds. The alarms turned into one long, deafening tone. Through the window, the crew watched as the alien ship's mouth twisted, its light growing unstable. Pieces of its hull shattered off like breaking glass. Elena placed her hand on the console. "For Earth," she whispered. Ro saluted her quietly. "For humanity." The final second passed. A blinding white flash swallowed everything. The explosion ripped through the Odyssey, a wave of fire and light tearing across space. The alien structure screamed, a sound that wasn't just heard but felt deep in the bones of every living being nearby. Then silence. The wreckage drifted in the dark. The blue nebula glowed softly, calm once again. The Odyssey was gone, or so it seemed. From the edge of the wreck field, a faint signal blinked, weak, distant, but alive. The same pattern as before, a distress call, and somewhere far away, another ship picked it up. 3 weeks after the Odyssey vanished, the galaxy was quiet again. No one spoke of the lost ship. Official reports said it was destroyed in an engine failure while investigating an abandoned sector. But in hidden corners of human space, whispers began, stories of strange transmissions coming from the edge of the nebula. The exploration ship Horizon Dawn was the first to find it. Captain Marcus Dale stood on the bridge watching the screen as a faint signal repeated over and over. "It's old," said the communication officer. "Same pattern as the pre-expansion distress code. Source coordinates match where the Odyssey disappeared." Marcus frowned. "I thought that system was sealed off." "It was," she replied softly. "Until now." For a long moment no one spoke. The screen showed nothing but static and stars. Then through the white noise a broken voice whispered, "Help us." Marcus turned to his crew. "Prepare a small recon team. We go in silent." The Horizon Dawn slipped through space like a shadow. When they reached the nebula, the color outside changed. Pale blue clouds glowing around them like a fog made of light. The distress signal grew stronger, repeating faster, almost like a heartbeat. "Signal origin is near the wreck field," the navigator said. "But there's no heat, no movement." Marcus squinted. "Show me the visual feed." The screen came alive. The wrecks of hundreds of ships floated in darkness, the remains of the battle no one had ever recorded. Among them drifted the broken hull of the Odyssey, torn in half but still glowing faintly along its edges. "That's impossible," whispered the navigator. "It should be dust by now." Marcus felt a chill. "Power readings?" "Minimal, sir, but—" "There's a life sign. One human." The crew exchanged nervous glances. "Suit up," Marcus ordered. "We're going in." The boarding team launched in a small shuttle and approached the silent ship. The Odyssey looked frozen in time. Dark corridors visible through shattered panels, the metal burned and twisted. As they docked, the shuttle lights flickered. Static filled their helmets. "Something's interfering with our comms," said one of the engineers. "Stay close," Marcus said. "No one wanders." They stepped inside. The air was still cold and heavy with dust. Every footstep echoed too loudly. The emergency lights flickered weakly, bathing everything in red. "This place gives me chills," one crew member muttered. Marcus nodded. "Scan for that life sign." The scanner beeped softly. "It's moving, Captain." Down 2 decks, they followed the sound of the signal. The deeper they went, the stranger things became. Black stains covered the walls, dried patterns like veins. The air smelled faintly of burnt metal and something organic. "Looks like fire damage," said the engineer. Marcus touched the wall with his glove. The surface was warm. "That's not fire," he said quietly. They reached the command deck. The walls there were covered with strange marks, circles drawn in soot, connected by thin lines like constellations. In the center of the room was a figure sitting in the captain's chair, facing away from them. "Identify yourself," Marcus called. No answer. He stepped forward carefully. "This is Captain Marcus Dale of the Horizon Dawn. We received your signal." The figure's head moved slowly. When she turned, the crew gasped. It was Commander Elena Hayes. Her face was pale, her eyes a faint glowing blue. Her suit was burned and torn, but she was alive, or at least she looked alive. "Commander Hayes," Marcus whispered. You're alive." Elena smiled weakly. "I tried to stop it. What happened here?" Her voice trembled. "It woke up. We destroyed the ship, but it wasn't enough. The signal, it's not a message. It's a door. Every time someone hears it, it opens a little more." The crew exchanged uneasy looks. Marcus asked, "A door to what?" Elena's eyes flickered. "Something that learns. Something that remembers us." Before Marcus could speak again, the lights dimmed. The ship groaned as if something huge moved outside. The same pattern of blue symbols began to glow on the walls. "Captain," the engineer said, his voice shaking. "The signal's coming from our shuttle now." Elena stood slowly. "It already found you." Black veins began spreading across the floor again, moving toward their boots. "Run!" Marcus shouted. The crew sprinted back through the corridor. The walls pulsed with blue light. From behind them came whispers, familiar voices calling their names, copying their words. They reached the shuttle bay, but the door refused to open. The control panel flickered with the same circle symbol. "Override it," Marcus shouted. The engineer slammed the keypad again and again. Sparks flew. Finally, the door opened and they rushed inside. The shuttle detached and sped away from the wreck, leaving the Odyssey behind. Everyone was breathing hard, shaking. Marcus looked back at the ship through the viewport. The distress beacon still blinked faintly on its hull, repeating endlessly. "Did we get it off us?" one of the crew asked. The communication officer stared at her console. "I don't think so." She turned the screen toward Marcus. The same blue circle was glowing on their own shuttle system. The distress signal had already spread, and somewhere inside the static, a new voice whispered through the speakers, Elena's voice, "Help us. Join us." The shuttle raced away from the wreck of the Odyssey. Inside, the crew sat in silence. No one spoke. No one moved. The faint hum of the engines was the only sound. Captain Marcus Dale stared at the glowing blue circle pulsing on the console. It beat like a heart, slow, steady, alive. "Shut it down," he said quietly. The engineer tried to cut the power. Sparks burst from the controls. The glow stayed. "It's not connected to our systems anymore," he said, voice shaking. "It's inside," the communication officer whispered. "Inside what?" He looked at her with empty eyes. Us, for a moment, no one understood. Then the whisper started again, soft, calm, and familiar. "Help us, join us." It came from the speakers, from the walls, from inside their helmets. Marcus felt something crawling at the edge of his mind. He slammed his hand against the control panel. "Don't listen. It's not real." But the voice grew stronger. It began using their own tones, copying their speech patterns. Every word they said came back, slightly delayed, slightly changed. "Don't listen, it's not real." The voice echoed, mocking him. The crew started panicking. One man tried to open the airlock, shouting that he had to get it out. Another held him back. They struggled. A shot rang out from a plasma pistol. The screaming stopped. Marcus turned and saw the engineer's lifeless body on the floor. The blue veins had already started to spread beneath his skin. "Everyone to the cockpit," Marcus ordered. "We're almost clear of the nebula." They stumbled forward. The stars outside brightened as they passed the last edge of the blue mist. Relief started to rise until the sensors beeped. Something huge was behind them. Marcus turned to the viewing screen. From the clouds of the nebula, the alien structure appeared again, broken but not destroyed. Its surface glowed with new veins of blue fire. It was healing itself, rebuilding. "It's alive," whispered the officer. The ship's AI crackled to life on its own. "Incoming transmission detected." Marcus froze. "From who?" The AI paused. Then in a voice that was both digital and human, it said, From you. Static filled the cockpit. Then through the noise, Marcus heard his own voice, his exact voice coming from the transmission. "This is Captain Marcus Dale of the Horizon Dawn. Please help us." The same distress signal that had started everything was playing again. The officer covered her mouth. "It's using us, just like it used them." Marcus stared at the controls. "We have to stop the transmission before someone else hears it." He reached for the power core switch, but his hand froze mid-air. His vision blurred. The whisper filled his head again, calm and sweet. "Don't fight it, Marcus. You can save them. All of them. Just share yourself." His body shook. His reflection in the glass looked wrong, eyes glowing faint blue. The officer screamed, "Captain, your eyes!" He turned toward her, his voice trembling. "It's inside me." He pressed the emergency beacon override. The ship jolted. Warnings blared. The engines began to overload. "Get to the escape pods," he shouted. "What about you? I'll hold it here." The surviving crew ran. The officer hesitated at the door. "Captain, please come with us." Marcus smiled faintly. "If anyone finds this place, they'll need a warning." The door closed behind her. Marcus sat in the pilot's seat, sweat dripping down his face. The ship's lights dimmed as the alien structure loomed closer, opening like a dark flower ready to swallow him. He began recording. "This is Captain Marcus Dale of the Horizon Dawn. The signal is not a call for help. It's a copy. It becomes what it touches. If you hear this, destroy your ship. Do not answer. Do not listen." The ship's hull cracked. Blue light poured through. Marcus looked out one last time. He thought he saw Elena Hayes standing in the void, her face calm, her eyes kind. She raised a hand and whispered through the static, "Now you understand." The explosion tore through space, a silent bloom of white fire. The alien structure shattered again, fragments spinning into the nebula. Then, stillness. Hours later, the small escape pod drifted away, carrying the last survivors. The communication officer floated beside the console, crying silently. Suddenly, the radio crackled. Static turned into a faint rhythm. A familiar voice whispered, almost too soft to hear, "Help us!" The officer covered her ears. No, please, not again." The pod's light flickered. The same blue circle appeared on the screen. Far away, deep in the black of space, the broken pieces of the alien structure began to pulse again, one by one, like a field of stars waking from sleep. And across the galaxy and distant outposts and human colonies, listening stations started receiving a new signal repeating, "Endless calm, help us." What answered was no longer human, and the galaxy would never be silent again.